Hello and welcome to episode number 32 of Just Shillin'. I am one of your hosts, Sean Hoffman.
And I am one of your other hosts, or I am your other host, Andy Bell. Sorry, Sean.
One of the other hosts, one of 30. We have a lot of us here. But yeah, man. Welcome.
How are you
Welcome
doing,
everybody.
buddy?
Welcome back. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah, it feels like it's been forever, you know? I feel like we haven't. Like, I
Truth.
know when the last time we spoke, it's like one extra day. Like, we bumped the schedule by one day, and it's like, Andy, I haven't seen you in 6 years. Like, how are the
Mm.
kids? Are you working still working at the same place? How's the partner? Things like that. But no, other than that, I mean, I'm good. I'm good. It's been a week. There's been like not a lot of like news, but I feel like a lot of things have changed in like my routine for like the last week. There's some
Mm.
so like recently like last weekend we went and did like we like hiking, we like doing outdoor stuff. So Madison previously she hiked that really long trail. But as most people may or may not know, like those trails like don't just maintain themselves. So like it relies on volunteers to go out there and do a lot of that stuff. And that's what we did last weekend. And we got some more of that coming up this week, doing some trail work. Went out and did some camping. Did some trail work. We got to, do some brush work. We got to, fix some switchback turns, improve some drainage, do a little bit of rock work. We got some more of that coming up this
Nice.
weekend. It just so happened that like we had a freakishly cold 2 days last weekend. Like so it's been like warm and it's warm again, but it got down to like where it was kind of like it was like snowing at elevation, like a little bit higher than us. And it's like that we were not prepared for that. It was very cold. But luckily it warmed back up again. Other than that, that's the trail work thing. It was a lot of fun. I didn't think I was gonna enjoy it as much as I would. Because it's like yard work, but not your own. But man, I really, really enjoyed that. Like going out and like, all right, we're gonna like fix this. Like being able to get out there and like improve something that like other people are gonna get to enjoy and like fix a tread, like get rid of tripping hazards, work on drainage, things like that. I don't know. There was just something about it, like working in computers all day, then going out and getting to do that for a little while. Like I'm like, ooh, I think this is a thing. This is like scale modeling, but like real life and bigger. I don't know, it's
Yeah,
fun.
it's
I,
cool,
I
man.
enjoy.
It's cool, and it's also commendable because you're helping other people. It's not just about it's not like home improvement or
Yeah.
you're not fixing up your own garden for your own self gratification or anything like that. You're actually helping other people um, enjoy the same kind of pastime that you and especially Madison, are really, really hooked into. And I really respect that. And ultimately, if it wasn't for folks like you, that many, many, many thousands of people wouldn't be able to enjoy it. We have, we have a network of volunteers over here that will help make sure public paths and public bridleways are clear and maintained. And typically they're volunteers. And it's great because if you when you do come here, the English countryside is great. Depending on where you are,
Mhm.
it is great. I mean, you've seen I'm sure you've seen an awful lot of the dramatizations and the very English kind of sorry, very British, sorry, um, um, type of countryside that we have here, which is relatively low key and mundane, but quite pretty. What you guys do on these amazing hike paths or these amazing trails that you guys work on is it could be the matter of life and death, which is surreal to me. The fact that you're fixing drainage to make sure it's accessible and not dangerous for folks that are going to be following after you. That's you're doing a public service there, mate, and I can understand the kind of the buzz you're getting from doing it.
Yeah, it was a good time. I'm glad we get to go out there and like something we could do together too. Because I'm not a big fan of going out for 6 months at a time and
No.
all that. So, you know, it's
I
it's
do
like a
have to
good in
say,
between.
thank you. Before I go into my week, I just want to thank you. It is part of your week, and but you've probably forgotten it. I want to thank you for taking the videos, the live videos that you took of your trip to Costco, to give me a real time experience of what Costco is like. And yeah, you blew my socks off, mate. It looks amazing. You went from throwing or getting Madison to throw herself into a steel shed to checking out a few hardcore power tools to within seconds moving on to nativity calendars or whatever that was, nativity statues, which I found rather bizarre. I'm guessing they kind of don't assort their product by category; they just throw it in there. But either
In
way,
that
oh, and they're
middle in that
massive.
middle
That
section, yeah, it's kind of seasonal stuff. Yeah.
The size of that pumpkin pie as well. I mean, that was bigger than your face.
Did you see the price on it too? Like, so that's
No,
so around Thanksgiving time, they sell those. I feel like they're like 24-inch or whatever that is in centimeters. Pumpkin pies. They're like $7. They're super cheap. So, and like around Thanksgiving time, they will just stack the refrigerator section full of these things. And like, there's usually like online time lapse videos of like just them kind of like getting taken and then refilled and taken. People, and they're good. They're not like a sucky store bought pumpkin pie. They are very good, and they've already started
yeah,
kind of pushing them out. Did I send the video of the gardening tools? Was that in there? 'Cause I know
yes,
you said you were a fan of the gardening tools, but it was the
yes,
children's set.
yeah. But yeah. But even the children's set are bigger than ours. It's impressive, mate. It really is impressive. Whatever you guys do, I mean, you're known for it as a nation. You know, if you're going to go to the States, everything's going to be big. If you're going to do a garden
Why
tool,
would we
you
make it
come out.
compact when you don't need it to be? Yeah.
No, why on earth? And then the whiskey as well. Was that whiskey? The Boss Hog. Is that whiskey?
I is that the $1,700 bottle?
Yeah.
I don't actually
Is
don't know
that
what it was. I just saw it. Madison's like, oh, make sure to get a picture of that. I don't know. Let me look. It is it's whiskey. Yeah, rye whiskey. I was debating with
s-
Madison. I'm like, do you think that's the real thing inside that little container? Because all that is like a shoe box, like a shoe display
right?
box that they also sell, but they always use them as display cases. I'm like, do you think that's the real thing in there, or do you think it's like a fake demo version? And she's like, I bet it's the real thing. Why? I'm like, because it's a $1,700 bottle of whiskey. Like, I would put that like other
So,
stores will
so
put like deodorant behind the counter, let alone a fifteen hundred
yeah,
dollar
yeah.
bottle of whiskey.
So for anyone listening, for context, because this doesn't, I'm looking at a picture at the moment. It doesn't make particularly good podcasting. Sean has taken a bunch of photographs and a bunch of videos just to really rub my nose into the fact that I can't go to a Costco in the UK to demonstrate just how great they are, and they are great, and they're fucking mad. They're properly mad. What he's showing me in is uh, a very expensive $1,700 um, bottle of whiskey that's sandwiched in between what looks like a pile of clothing, like jeans, sweats, and the rest of it. And on the other side, it looks like either a deli rack with meats on it. Either way, the whole it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. But it also adds, in my mind, to the fascination and the desire to go to Costco one day before I die.
Yes, it
Anyway,
is.
thank you for that.
The wine rack is between like the wine casing, whatever you call that, that kind of that whatever is between the clothing section and the produce. And so when I sent you all those like seafood ones, because I know you're a big seafood fan, those are right to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
right of that photo. So it's all right there just together. And yeah,
Amazing.
it's
Makes
a good old
sense.
time, man.
Makes sense now. Makes sense now you've explained it. Yeah, no, absolutely. Cool. Cool. What else about the week?
There is
Is that kind of,
there
I
is
mean, that's a
there's
lot.
one thing there's one other thing that happened that I forgot about until I came into my office to record this. We go to that music on the beach thing every Thursday.
Hmm.
And this last week was it was a charity event, they have like a charity raffle to support like a local arts program. And so 2 years ago, we went for the first time. and we kind of made out like bandits. It was kind of weird. Like I know exactly how we won a bunch of stuff. So like you come in, you buy like little tickets with numbers on them, and then there was all these tables lined up with all these different things that have been donated by like local businesses, like ski lift tickets or a 2 night stay at a thing or $50 off a
Yeah.
dinner, or but there's also like uh art like ceramic pieces by local artists and blah blah blah. And so when we arrived, we kind of took a long time to we waited till like the last minute to put our tickets in the cups to vote for the different things we wanted for. And we walked away with like 3 or 4 different things, which you're lucky to walk away with one, but we came out with a lot because they didn't shake the cups before they drew the names, like the numbers out. So like they just kept pulling like our number out of like these 30 things. We walked out with 4, and there's like 200 people here. So we're like, hell yeah, let's go again this year, even though we're already going. But there's a lot more limited this year, and like we were not expecting to win anything, but uh we did come away with one thing. I did. And it just so happened to be when we were walking along these tables, I'm like, ooh, I really want that. And Madison looked at me and was like, that is so stupid. We do not need that. Please do not put that ticket in that cup. Like, do not put one of your tickets in that cup. I'm like, what are the odds? Like, I mean, there's a ton of people here and like they had fewer items, so there's more tickets in each cup. So I'm like, the odds are against us. Like, I'm doing it anyways because I want that because I think it's funny. So they're doing the drawing later on, and it gets to this one, and I'm like, it's kind of near the end, and we haven't won anything yet. We didn't win the things that we really wanted, and it gets to this, and I'm like, watch, I'm gonna win this. And they read off the numbers, and it's obviously mine. Uh, and I just start laughing. I'm like, let's go, like, look, yes. And Madison's like, are you serious? There's
Winning.
no way, because she knew my number range because hers were right before mine. And she's like, are you kidding me? There's no way. And I stand up and wave, and they're like, oh my god. And our neighbors are losing it because she's like, I swear if he wins this, I'm gonna be so mad, yada yada yada. And I won it. And so what it was, I know everybody's anxiously waiting. It's in my office because I think if it's not in my office right now, it's probably going to get. It won't be in our house anymore.
Got
It'll
it.
disappear. So it's in here right now. And so what it is a giant metal from a local gallery.
Oh,
It's a
dude.
it's a giant metal like print. It's a print on metal of this bear who's standing up on 2 legs and with his arms down, just kind of. And it's I mean it's got like hokey like print behind it, like cherries and some leaves and stuff. But it's just this. It's maybe 2.5, 3 feet tall on this big metal front, like this big metal print, and it's just a big dumb bear just standing there looking at you like, hey,
That is a
we
work of art.
we
That is a work of art.
it
In someone's eyes, that's a work of art.
it
That's
is, and so
it's beautiful, man. What can I say? And very relevant to your life. So it's who knows where you guys are going to be a year from now? You may be living in New Zealand. You never know.
yeah,
Um,
maybe if Madison gets her way, yeah,
you
but yeah,
never know. So yeah, no, I mean that's amazing. I mean it is it's somewhat on the gaudy side.
oh,
But
absolutely,
but kitsch is back in, mate. I embrace it. Embrace the kitsch. It's a lovely again, just for description, it's a lovely picture of it's a large what should be a canvas, but it's not a canvas. It's painted straight onto metal, which is classy, bit of classy. It's a large picture of a bear um, that looks like it's been actually the background's got no context because it's almost looked like he's actually standing in front of some really bad retro 70s wallpaper. But
yeah. He kind of looks like a little kid who's kind of in the middle of getting yelled at about something, like he's in trouble.
well, yeah. But I'm talking about the background because the background
Oh
is a
yeah,
little bit wow. It's well, wow. It is properly very
it's a bad
vintage
photo.
and
It's like a bad Photoshop, yeah.
I mean, look at the size of those cherries next to the size of his head. Um, yeah, no, honestly, that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, and
I'm
you should cherish
if
that.
If I'm not allowed to bring it out of my office, I'm thinking about just giving it to my mom when next time I see her, and be like, "Hey, I got this for you," because she's fascinated by the bears out here too, and it's like, oh, this would go well in her
Is she the type of
home.
mum? Is she the type of mum that would just say, "Oh, that's amazing, thank you, son. I love you so much. Big hugs," or would she call you out on your bullshit?
She'd want to know the backstory, like
Oh,
somewhere
okay,
in the
fine.
middle. She would
Okay,
appreciate it and be like, this will go well, because she has a big picture of a bear from after being out here that she has in like a theme, like a
got
room
it.
somewhere. But she'd be like, why do you have this giant metal standing bear? And I'll be like, I want it. I want it in a raffle, supporting. The key is that I'm supporting a local arts program. That's the
Exactly,
key. And the
exactly.
second key is Madison really didn't want it. So that made me want it even more. And so I'm like, I want nothing more than it, because it's not about the outcome. It's about how we got here. It's about the journey. And that journey was watching Madison's eyes roll so far back into her head with frustration that I put the ticket in that cup and I won it. That just makes the whole thing. Like, I don't even care what happens to
Meant to
it. Like,
be,
I could
meant to be.
yeah.
I don't. I have zero faith. You know that. I have no faith whatsoever, and I'm envious of folk that have people that have faith and believe in fate. But this is one of those occasions where I believe in it was. It was one of those moments that was meant to be.
I invested in the joke and the joke paid off. And now it's like
The
I don't care what
the
happens
bit the
anymore.
bit the bit saluted you. It
Yeah.
saluted you on the way out, and it delivered. Well played, mate.
But other than that, outside of that, I just went to Costco. You know all about that. Um, and that's kind of it. Just hosting hikers. I think we're kind of getting to the end of that now that we're getting kind of into starting to get into fall, where
Mm.
the bubbles have kind of passed. But other than that, man, we're out here hanging out. I'm not gonna talk like I'm done. I'm done talking about the deck. Catherine has introduced our friend, our buddy Catherine, has showed us her recently. Sent us a picture of her new catio, or I think she called it like a cat fence.
Yeah,
I'm familiar with calling them catios, a cat patio
yeah.
with like an
Same here.
enclosed cat enclosure.
Same here.
So now cat decks are out, catios are in. I'm gonna have to start planning for my next summer project, which I'm thinking is gonna have to be a catio. So,
Well, we're
but until
thinking
then,
of. I'm thinking of. I mean, I got to win the lottery first, but the. I'm kind of bridging here. This is kind of like a little bit of a segue in that. Um, I think I told you that we got to make a decision on the decking that I fell through.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and we're thinking, well, maybe we should have a little bit of a conservatory, a little bit of a conservatory, just a small one on the outside. And then literally over the weekend we were thinking, well, maybe not a conservatory, we don't need it. Just the two of us now in this house. We don't need the room. If we want to enjoy the sun, we go outside. Why the hell do we want a conservatory? And what we've been talking about is, well, what about a catio? As long as it's secure enough, it allows us to be able to keep the cats safe overnight, because we tend to leave them in. We live in the countryside. And there's lots of foxes and other shit going on. Well, there's mainly foxes, but also cars, because we live in the countryside. There's lots of country
yeah.
lanes, and youngsters tend to drive way too fast than the roads should allow, but they do. And
And
there's an awful
and
lot
because
of.
outdoor cats are absolute menaces, they kill everything.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah. Well,
keeping
no,
them in,
yeah. I'm
keeping
not.
other
I'm
stuff
not. I'm
out,
not.
and
I'm not so worried about them killing stuff. It's more about them. We went through many, many years of, because we've always had pets. We've always had dogs and
yeah,
cats. We've always had dogs and
yeah.
cats. The occasional rabbit and the occasional hamster, the occasional guinea pig. But luckily, the girls grew up and didn't want them anymore, so that was good. Although, sorry, for one guinea pig in particular, it lasted forever. The girls had left home, I think, by the time that this one guinea pig decided to pass away. It's like, thank God. Because, of course, it was me cleaning them out every week. Anyway, sorry, going off at tangent again. Won't do that this week. But so we're thinking about a catio, which allows us to be able to open a window at night, for it to be safe for the cats to still enjoy the evening air and to be
Mhm,
out and
mhm.
about. Turn it into, make sure it's really, really got a lot abundant with flora and fauna inside the catio itself, and just
Yeah.
make it a place for them to hang out. So that's what we're thinking about at the moment, as opposed to, and it's significantly cheaper than a bloody conservatory. Anyway, so sorry, I went off at a tangent there. But yeah, no, I'm
A
loving. I'm loving.
conservatory
I
a
accept. I accept as your buddy on this pod. I accept moving on from decking now. Thank you, Turbo.
mhm.
It was lovely. It was lovely while it lasted, but we need to move on now. And I'm happy to accept Catios as the next discussion point. I think it's the future.
Yeah, I think it's the next big trend for
Mm,
podcast tangents, if I had to
mm,
say so myself.
mm.
A quick question about conservatories. I know the term, and I know mostly from the board game Clue. Is that more of a greenhouse, which I always assumed it was, or is it more of a sunroom? So
Sunroom.
you made it sound like
Sorry.
it's more of a sunroom.
Yeah, sunroom. So you have a lot of Brits. I mean, depending. Basically, most Brits live in a what we call a normal size house is nowhere near as big as you guys. You have the land, you have the space.
Right.
We have over 66 million people living in. I think it's even bigger than that. Point being is that you've got 70 million people living in a very, very small island, and it room is a premium, and we've got great countryside and everything, but an awful lot of that is what they call green, what you call green belt. You can't build on it, and so where people live typically is just the very nature of the UK is it's small. It's small. And so what people have done to make it affordable to expand on their houses over the years, big thing I guess it started in the 70s, and got progressively, sorry, had more momentum over subsequent decades. People will stick a sunroom on the back of their house to give them more room, but also to enjoy the summer while not having to worry about the English summer, which typically involves a little sprinkle of rain every now and again. So yeah, no, that's what it is. People still have um, gardening. What am I? Not glass houses. What am I thinking of? Oh God,
Like a
what was the
greenhouse?
greenhouse? Yeah, yeah. Sorry, people will still have greenhouses, but that's very separate. That's typically the end of the garden, as opposed to a part of the house. A part of the house.
Nice. No, I was just wondering because I know the term, like I knew the term, and I could picture them in my head, but it's like sometimes there's usually like I know it from Clue, like it was with the candlestick in the
Yeah, yeah.
conservatory. But I'm always like, oh, is it? I always assumed it was like a greenhouse, but it sounds like it's more of a sunroom with plants in it to help make it seem like a more enjoyable
Part of the
space. Like it's a
outdoors.
green.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Part of the
Yeah,
outdoors.
yeah, yeah.
It, it,
Cool.
it's
I like that.
typically attached to a house, but um, because it's got a glass roof, it's typically not part of the house, if that makes sense. So it's attached
Yeah.
to the house, but you go through an exit of your house proper to this area, which is still part of your house, but it's kind of,
Like an enclosed
well,
porch, but
part
nicer.
part of, and yeah, exactly. So yeah, no,
Cool.
no, we got that. Anything else this week, mate? Good God,
That
23
is
minutes in.
that is it. That's all I've got.
Well, it's pretty
Nothing going
good.
on for me.
It's
How
good.
about
It's
you?
good going. Um, mate. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. The work thing is mental. The reason why we're recording late a day after is because work is still yeah, it's pretty full on. Um, Big launch. We're doing okay. We'll get there. Just a lot of pressure, which is interesting. And like I said, there are a few folk outside of the work in air quotes, that kind of have expectations that don't understand just the complexity of what we're trying to achieve. Um, and I'm doing my best as I possibly can at my age to hold to bite my tongue and really not tell them what I think of them as people. But anyway, it's all right, man. It's going okay. It's just I'm really looking forward to the end of September because that kind of will be my do or die moment, or my shit or bust moment. That's when that's out of the way. But saying that, we did have a long weekend in the UK, so we had another bank holiday, which means that we have Monday off.
We do
And as a
too.
result,
Woohoo!
yeah, and as a result of that, we decided to get away, and so we drove down to a place we stay in Devon by the coastside, sorry, by the seaside, and we literally spent a long weekend there, which was really really nice. Fortunately, I had to do a little bit of work while I was down there, but in the most part, we were able to relax. We had the dog with us. We're able to take her out for walks most days on the beach. Yeah, it rained a few times, but quite frankly, we were pretty good at dodging the rain. We ate some really, really good food until our last night, and then so the girls came down as well, which was really awesome. But we only had them for 2 days of the three, and so they had because they have commitments very, very early on Tuesday morning, which meant they had to travel back on the Monday, whereas we
Mm,
could travel back the morning of our return to work. And so on the last night where it was just Lucy and I took her out to a place that, because we've been going down there for quite a few years now. And in context, it's about a 2.5 hour journey from where I live at the moment, further down, actually towards. I mean, you know the map of the UK, towards where I was born and brought up, but
mhm.
it's the county before called Devon, and or the state before called Devon, although we'd never have any states over here because they were too small. Anyway, but point being is that took her out for dinner that night to a place that we've been to quite a few times and haven't eaten there for quite a few years. But we still go back for, I don't know, middle of winter when we go down and we walk the dog on the beach. We're feeling cold. We'll go there for a hot chocolate, and they're a really really good outfit. But good God, I got no idea what was going on with the cooking because being a fish lover, especially a shellfish lover, I have mussels, and the mussels were smelly. And I'm like, the
Mm.
first thing I thought was, that's not typically not a good time, a good sign, sorry. And then they were very, very rubbery as well. I'm like, And I was told, I asked the question, is this all right and everything? And I was told that yeah, it's the way it's been cooked because it was cooked in a particular cider vinegar, which had the chemical reaction on the mussels. Anyway, the point being, bullshit. I felt like crap for 2 days. I have felt like
Damn.
crap for 2 days. Um, and yeah, I don't want to get into too graphic detail, but me and I've been messing around with the white telephone quite a lot the last couple of days, um, spending an awful lot of time in our bathroom. It's not been fun. So today is the first day I felt probably back to normal ish. Um, and apart from that, mate, I haven't done an awful lot because after we spoke last Wednesday, it was full on until we got in the car and decided, fuck it, let's go. We've got to get out of here. We've got to get away from work, and we'll jump in the car. And the girls did the same thing, and they jumped on in a car as well and headed down towards us. Um, and now, and then as soon as I got back to work, it was full on again. So I haven't done an awful lot, which is depressing. But it's it's actually not by not doing a lot, it allowed me to kind of reset and level set a little bit and switch my brain off and not worry about the work stuff and realize what the important stuff was, which was spending time with my family. And just every now and again, I'm really grateful for having those kind of moments because, good God, it's so easy to forget. It's really, really easy to forget what is really, really important.
Mhm.
And I know there's an awful lot of people out there at the moment that have life an awful lot harder than me. And I got to remember that every now and again. And some of the stuff that we get upset about, for example, around space stuff and the stuff that should give us pleasure and we get upset and excited about. I thought, good God, we've got it really, really good. and we just need to remember that every now and again. So, had an opportunity to feel a little bit thankful without coming over too cheesy and righteous, because that's not me anyway. So that was good.
Life,
The other bit of
life
news,
is a buffet. Life is a buffet. Don't grab the food that you don't want to eat, man. Like,
yeah, exactly.
and
Um,
also real quick, I'd never heard the term slang white telephone before, and that's why I started laughing in the middle of what you were talking about, because it finally like kicked in. It's like, oh, it's because it's like it's the toilet.
yeah,
Yeah, like it.
yeah,
It
yeah.
took me a minute, and I think that's very funny. That's in
Okay.
case you hear me laughing in the middle of while you're talking about serious stuff.
No,
Like
it's
that's
fine.
what
No, it's fine.
it's
No,
like the
it's fine.
realization washing over me, and I was like, oh,
Andy thinks he
that's what
had
that
food
was.
poisoning. How hilarious! No, it's all right, man. I get that. And the other bit of news I had was that, and I'll leave it until we talk about, well, for what is for me the main topic of conversation that I want to talk to you about, which is Outlaws turned up. So I did Outlaws, Star Wars Outlaws, the game that everyone's talking about on their respective pods at the moment, whether they play or whether they don't play. The point being is the latest news we've had in that particular franchise is the new game came out, and I paid a lot of money to get an early copy. Um, I should have had 3 days access. Now, in fairness, this is my fault because I'm old school when it comes down to titles that I really, really want. I really, really like. In the same way that our buddy Turbo. Good God, 3 weeks in a row we're talking about Turbo. I can't believe I'm
Damn.
doing this. Anyway, in the same way that our buddy Turbo buys physical media for films that he likes and
Mhm.
wants to preserve and want to keep. I did the same with gaming. So I would say 90% of my games I download. Because I've run out of room and I've got rid of, despite the fact of getting rid of an awful lot of old titles, I've run out of room. But once in a while, there is a title that I want to keep because it either means an awful lot to me or it's been spun up as a landmark moment in gaming. Some have been, some it certainly has been, and some not so much. But anyway, don't want to talk about Starfield now. Anyway, the point being is bought the FP, sorry, the physical copy of Starfield, and again because I paid up front, I bought the you can't get the premium pack on physical. You have to get the golden one, the gold, the whatever. You guys
The
have got
top,
two
the
options
top
or
tier,
three.
the top tier,
Yeah,
right?
the top tier of the package, it's the one below it. So the top tier is
Mm,
digital only, and
mm.
that gives you, I think, two extra skins or two extra cosmetics. Which I'm not bothered about the cosmetics. It was mainly the DLC that I'm up for. But
The
this
season
version I
packs, the
bought,
season pass
yeah,
thing. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. It was the steelbook that I was really really into because the steelbook looks amazing. And so, but despite so that's what I bought was the premium. I'll find the edition. I'll do it while we're talking. So that's what I bought was the premium edition of the FPP. Sorry guys, it's a work expression. It's full package product. The physical disc, but it didn't turn up 3 days prior to launch date. It turned up today, which is a day before it officially launches. And I'm like, that's really annoying. I mean, it just so happens to be that I've been so busy at work that I couldn't play it anyway. But, being an old fart, it was the principle. I got on a right Karen moment about it. It was the principle that it didn't turn up 3 days prior to launch because that's what I paid for. And not only that, the steelbook hasn't turned up as well. And I had a really lame email back from him saying, "Oh yeah, the suppliers." So this is you guys, Ubisoft. The suppliers haven't provided us with the steelbooks in time. So what we did, the right thing, was to ship to you the game, and we'll ship to you later on the steelbook, which is fine. But the point being is that the game could have been with me 2 days ago, and I could have started enjoying it like the rest of you guys that have been enjoying it with early access. But like I
Well,
said, it's given me the opportunity to get a load of work done, and it means that now my weekend is free, so I can actually enjoy it.
there is a silver lining though, because as somebody who did not get the FPP, uh, I played probably within the hour that it dropped and played for maybe not a lot. I maybe played 30 minutes, 40 minutes, really
Yeah.
taking my time with it. And only to get an email the next day being like,
Oh,
"Hey,
you one of
we're
those?
yeah, we're sorry, but we noticed that you specifically, you were one of the people who maybe
Oh
didn't play on the most
man.
recent version." Because I will say, when I was playing it, it was like her face was just like her eyes were just like her eyelids were just constantly like flickering and blinking, and her hair was all like staticky. I'm like,
Awesome.
maybe the cutscenes are weird, and it just kind of had this like rough edge to it at times. Um, and I'm like, oh, it's whatever. It's early game jitters. But the email said, yeah, just kidding. Can you make sure that you have the most recent version and don't play that save ever again because it has like game blocking, progression blocking bugs and yada yada yada. You kind of need to start over. And I was like, I could have been mad about it, but I was like, I only played like 30 minutes, and like it's when you first start playing a game and it's like you really kind of take your time like farting with the controls and walking around. So it's like, okay, I can like run through that in like 5 minutes if I need to. So I wasn't upset at all about it, but it's like, if I'd paid like 6 hours, I would have been pissed.
Well,
But
this is it. This is it.
so there's a silver
Did
lining.
you
At least you didn't do that.
did you is that the PC or the Xbox or PS5 version?
PS5.
Right. So I don't know whether it's exclusive to PS5. So first of all, I've done some research while you've been talking. Yeah, I bought the gold edition. So do you know what? It's now 86.99. Jesus Christ! Within hours of it launching, it's already 15 quid less than I paid.
You gotta
Anyway, I'm not
gotta
gonna.
keep your eyes looking forward, man. It's already yeah.
Yeah. Life's too short, right? Anyway, so yeah, what I got was, which means that I get everything that the platinum edition has, albeit I don't get two skins, which I can live with, but I do get the steel case. So that was the compromise that I made. Anyway, but I've seen today as well, and I was going to wait until we talked about this later on, but I saw today that Ubisoft is also who basically have hammered the last 3 days, like properly hammered the first 3 days. They've issued that same patch, and it's not a case of them continuing where they left off. It's a case of they have to start a new game in its entirety. And what they've been given, which you might get this actually, now that you've said that you've already started, is that
That
they've
was
been
my
given
you're yep. Go ahead.
what they've been given is 100 Ubisoft Connect units, which
Hmm.
apparently
Yep.
is like loyalty points that can be used, and I quote, on in-game rewards and Ubisoft. Is it Ubisoft or Ubisoft? Anyway, store discounts, and then you're also getting hold your breath here, dude. You're also getting a Trailblazer trinket
Hmm.
cosmetic to go with your character. So
Yep.
I mean, the fact that you've been playing for half an hour, fair play, nice touch. But I do feel somewhat sorry for people that have put. There's a guy on this particular website talking about, thanks, I lost 15 hours of progress. Um, yeah, so that's not good. That's
This
not
is
good
gonna
to issue.
this is gonna
Sorry,
sound
go on.
real heartless, but it's like maybe don't invest like because this isn't the first time shit like this has happened. Like maybe don't invest 15 hours in the first 24 hours of an early access launch. Like we've all been burned. We've all heard the stories. I invested 30 minutes. And so when I got that email you're talking about. So I got
Yeah.
the hey, sorry. I got that email 2 days ago. I got the hey, we're still sorry. Here's 100 points and this trinket. I got that yesterday. And
Oh,
so
okay.
I used my 100 points. I used some of them to buy some like um some cosmetics. I bought some stuff in the store that was already out there. So I thought that was neat.
Cool.
And since I only spent 30 minutes, I feel like I'm on the positive. Like I got
So
like
hang on.
bonus.
So are there already new cosmetics that you can buy that aren't in the game?
I don't know if they're in the game or not. I haven't played that much, but it's like different paints and stuff for like ships
Oh,
and
cool,
clothing and
cool.
things. Like I haven't got them yet because I haven't got that far in the game, but you can buy stuff. And like I also redeemed the Disney Plus reward, but I haven't like received that yet either in the game, but they should be queued up. It says when I will get them, but I haven't gotten to that point yet
No, that's
of
cool.
like
I'm
doing all that
looking
stuff to
forward
get
to
them.
it, and I'm actually like I said to you, I'm being really pedantic and really old farty when it comes down to well, I've paid for this to be three days before, but quite frankly, I would be a danger to myself had I got it 2 days ago because I
It took a
that
it
work
took a lot of me to
that work
not do that.
yeah, that work would be backing up in the background, and now I know I can have a really, really clear weekend, which I'm really looking forward to. But
'Cause
in doing so, and I know we're going to talk about this later on, but we might as well just jump in and talk about it now.
yeah.
Um, I've avoided love you, Hawes, and Eric, love you, Eric. I've avoided them because what I found, and we talked a little bit about this before we started recording. What I found was that I was so invested in their Twitch channels and Randy, when Survivor came out.
Mhm,
I mean, there I was at 2 in the frigging morning, talking to Randy, and sometimes it's just the 2 of us on his channel. Um, and I've avoided it at the moment because what happened was by watching initially Eric, then Hawes, then Randy on their playthroughs of Survivor, I got kind of addicted, as you do. It's the reason why kind of
mhm,
Twitch exists. I got really, really addicted to breaking all the rules on a school night and listening and watching them that late at night.
mhm.
Um, and I lost my own desire of playing the game. I still haven't finished Survivor. I still haven't finished it. I was quite far through it, but I got to a point in the end where I had so much vested interest in what those guys were doing and getting and seeing them come to the end, and then the hilarity of watching Eric again do it the second time round on Uber hard mode,
Mhm.
which was hilarious. And God, I felt for that guy. Anyway, the point being is I never completed it myself. And it's like I'm not doing it this time. I'm not doing it. Much as I love those guys and I want to support them on their Twitch channels, I've got to try and get through it myself. At least the story mode part. I've got to just get
Yeah.
through it um,
Well, I'm the
before
same
I
way,
start
dude.
engaging.
Like if I if I watch other people's streams and see parts in the story, like it doesn't even have to be the full story. Like if people are a little bit further than me, then like I think this is an element of like how much time do we have in a day? Like, and that's some because people have like criticized or asked me in the past like why I just smash through games. Like when Starfield came out, like I like dedicated my life to just like I put an insane amount of time in that in a very short amount of time. So I'm like, if I see people playing and they're further than me, then I will not want to do the work to get to that
Mm,
point. So I
mm.
will just drop it. Like I'll just drop it. It's like that's a flaw of my own and the time amount of time I have in a day. So like I need to be in front of it and not engage in
That's exactly where it's really interesting because you end up watching someone like Eric in particular, who is a completionist, an absolute completionist. Um, and love. Unfortunately, because of the time he records, I love watching his Red Dead 2 replay. I'm really loving that because it's all there's something quite cathartic about it.
Mhm.
Um, does that make sense? You know,
Yeah,
in
yeah, I
that
understand.
it's something quite cathartic about it because I've no intent to go back over that game again.
Oh, I could be honest and say I don't know if I've ever
And I never
like a
had.
game that I have completed. I don't think I've ever gone back and played a game again, like to complete. I've never beaten a game multiple times
Oh, I
ever in
have.
my
Yeah,
life.
there's a couple that I have. The most prominent. I mean, Red Dead One, I did.
Mhm.
Um, because what they did was they released Red Dead One, and um, they released a DLC pack, or sorry, yeah, no DLC pack that
Mhm,
was called Undead Nightmare, which basically they it was basically Red Dead with zombies, and it was like,
mhm,
yes, man, that's totally up my alley. And so I did that, and then by completing that, maybe a year, maybe 2 years after I completed the original game, it made me think about the original game and how much I really enjoyed it. It's way before Red Dead 2, so I did that. But the one that there are two games that I have played to death, and that is Mass Effect 2,
mhm,
um, because some of the decisions you make impact the partners that you have for three. And in fact, one and two as well is also the same way. But two in particular, I wanted to kind of almost not prove myself, but run through every scenario. After I'd finished, I'd kind of go back and look up what decision tree or what decision making changed the circumstance, and then you have to make a different kind of sacrifice
mhm.
based on that decision. So everything, yeah, and I played that thing to death. What else was there? Oh, and Cyberpunk as well. There are five different endings of Cyberpunk. Now, Cyberpunk, I need to go back. There's DLC that I've heard is absolutely awesome, but secondly, I played it through. And I don't know if you've played that game, but there's a moment where you can save it before you get into the end game, in
Mhm.
air quotes, and then you can have four or five different endings depending on the decisions you make then as well.
See,
And I've played
that's where
through
I'll
that,
watch,
but it's
like,
almost
Twitch and
like
stuff or YouTube, yeah, like, and to see the
yeah, but
different
it's
endings.
almost like a
I won't do it
cheat.
myself.
So it's almost like a cheat because you can actually you only have to play half an hour's worth of gameplay to get that different ending
Mhm,
because of that particular tactical save point. And so it's not really that big a deal, but certainly Mass Effect 2 is the one that I would say I've played way too much of. It's also my favorite game ever. So anyway, that's that. So yeah, go back
speaking
back
of,
back.
the
Oh, sorry.
games that have decisions, I'll have to tell the story sometime about getting Madison into the Telltale games, like, or if you're familiar with those
Oh
with,
yeah,
like, the
man.
decision.
Yeah,
I could just tell it really quick. It's very funny, and it's something that she still gets mad about every once in a while. She's very into those games, like the story narrative, and she has me play, like, the action parts, like, especially, like, the Walking Deads or the Wolf Among Us, and there was in the Wolf Among Us, I won't, like, spoil it because I think that is a really good game. There's a part where you can make a decision that I was very annoyed with a certain character, and so when I was presented with the decision to make, I chose to remove that character from my presence.
yeah.
Um, and she did not like that I did that. I'm like, they were irritating and I don't have to deal with them ever again. And so from the rest of the game, it's always brought up. It's like, oh, you did that thing. And so every time that is mentioned, which was every conversation from then going forward, she just look at me and be like, "I can't believe you did that." And it's like, they're not there. They're not there anymore. Like, I don't have to deal with them. They were very annoying. And so I could probably bring it up to her today. I'm like, "Hey, remember that time when XYZ happened?"
Why do you
And it's
do?
just
Why do you go out of your way to wind her up? Let it. Just
no,
let
I'm
it.
saying I could. I'm not going to.
Okay, fine.
I made a
Okay, fine.
decision in the moment. I'm like, this person drives me absolutely nuts. And so
Yeah.
when presented with the option of like, oh, that's an option. Okay, yeah, take it. Bomb. They're like, why did you do that? It's like, because it's what I wanted to do. It's like, and so then it just beat me over the head with it, like, from then
I
on.
do
It's
like
like,
those games. It's a shame. I think they've kind of gone, haven't they? But I do
I think
like
they,
those games.
I think they went out of business or got bought or something. But they've like
The
other.
Walking
I
Dead
thought they were
ones
gonna.
I thought were awesome. They did a
Yeah,
Batman one that was I thought was pretty good. And it's either Bioshock or it's either Bioshock or um it's either Bioshock or Bad or I'm sure it's Bioshock they did as well. Trying to think, it's quite steampunky. Anyway, point being is that yeah, no, they're really tight, especially the Batman one they did. I thought was really good, really good.
I love them. I like them all except for the Game of Thrones one. That was the only one that was just like, I hate this. I don't want
Yeah,
to play this
yeah.
anymore. But
So
anyways,
going back to Outlaws, because I won't have a summary for you until next week. In the half an hour that you did play, was it any good? I mean, bearing in mind my expectations are for it not to be hard. I don't want a hard game. I don't want a particularly complex game. I want a something I can pick up and blast, spend hours just running around the galaxy and not being particularly what's the word I'm thinking of, skillful in
yeah.
my gameplay. I just want to be able to kind of in the half an hour that you're able to play, was it good fun?
So my total gameplay is much more than half an hour. That was just my first
Oh, okay.
night. I have
Okay.
caught up and gone way past that so far. Um, I like it is early. It is early to tell. Like I am enjoying I'm enjoying the game. I think I'm having a lot of fun. I don't want to be like it's great because it's still new and I haven't really got into the meat of it. Like I'm still getting like new menus and new options and like lots of introductions of stuff. Um like I thought it takes a while and all of a sudden it's like, oh, now I'm to finally to the title screen, like where it's like Star Wars Outlaws. It's like, oh man, that was like that took a bit. And so now I'm getting into the meat of it. I'm enjoying it. I do think there's gonna be it feels really well thought out in a lot of ways. Like to kind of talk about non-story stuff for a second, the amount of accessibility options and features and things that you can do to kind of like assistive assistive controls and assistive devices stuff seems really well thought out. Like if you just want to play the game for the story, like even down to a point where like every like they've shown in the previews that like playing table card games and stuff is going to be part of this game.
Mm,
I got into a little bit of that yesterday and you can even toggle the cards into being like, oh, you don't like symbols? Well, they can be numbers. Like just the level of thought feels really intentional, not just the normal um, head bob or color
mm,
assistive color modes and things like that. There is an ex- I was overwhelmed when I went because I always like to go into those menus and see what all's in there. There is an insane amount of assistive technology kind of stuff in there, which I thought was really cool. Um, the worlds that I've seen so far feel huge. While and I like that it doesn't seem very because sometimes you play these open world games and it feels very closed off where it's like there's just not a lot of doors. Or
yeah.
you feel very controlled. Like it feels expansive. It feels like it could grow, but also not overwhelming. Like the doors just don't open, but you still get like movement and windiness and I'm enjoying the gameplay so far. Like it doesn't seem uh like little things are going to be incredibly difficult, like combat or whatever. It doesn't
Mm.
seem like some of the stuff with Jedi Survivor felt like the focus is combat. Um, and like the intricacies and the timing and things like that. This feels much more well balanced, and I think that's what my some of my issues with the Survivor series are, where it's like it got to be very puzzly, like climby, puzzly, jumpy timing, which is fine. I enjoy that, but like it sometimes it just beats you over the head with it too much. Like I want more story, I want more interaction and side hustles and side games and reputation system and decision trees and more well balanced. This seems like it's the kitchen sink and everything else. Um, and I feel like
Yeah, and I
they're
think
giving it to me in a slow enough manner that I'm kind of getting it, but not overwhelming me. So I'm
well,
kind of liking that.
that's really positive because I'm that's the kind of game that I think I'm looking forward to. I thought, I mean, I did, um, I did, Fallen Jedi, Jedi Fallen, um,
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order, even
Right.
Jedi Fallen Order. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I played through that, and then went over in New Game Plus mode and the rest of it, and did it because there was nothing else around at the time. Um, and didn't feel the benefit of playing it the second time round. I'm
Yeah.
not a completionist. I'm not. I don't want every poncho. I don't want every. I'm not particularly bothered about that kind of stuff. But I didn't feel the benefit of the replay. And as I said, Fallen Order, I didn't complete in the end, which I'm ashamed to say because that's not like me. Because I'm normally my OCD side just needs to at least complete it
I'm
before
in
I
it for
put
the
it away.
story. 90% of me is story. Like
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I want to
yeah,
I want to experience a story. And then
yeah.
it's like, oh, did you get that collectible? It's like, hell no, I didn't get that.
No, well, no. And I respect
But I'm
people
not rushing through it
that
though.
no. But that So, for example, there were oh god, it's before you and I first met that we were talking to each other on Twitch when Eric was playing, and there was those two goddamn monsters down in that pit
Hmm.
that kept kicking his
Yeah,
ass, kicking his ass, kicking his ass, kicking his ass. And it was, oh, no, I'm not saying it's funny, but it was, yeah, it was funny. Um, but it was that kind of like, oh God, if you've got to do that to progress the game, uh, and I respect there's a certain amount of grinding that has to be done in order for you to take on a boss at some point, but I just want to mooch. I just want to mooch about and
yeah,
enjoy myself. So anyway, listen, we can have a more detailed conversation this time next week. But I'm glad you're enjoying it,
yeah.
um, and it would be great if it was a more switch your brain off, mooch about, shoot a few people, smuggle some spice, play some cards.
It feels like it's got a good mix of everything. So like I
If
played
it's
Sabak
if
for the
it's
first time last night, and
oh
it's
cool,
like, ooh, I like this because it's also like it does feel a little bit more like like playing a real game. Like it feels like I'm actually like engaging my brain, trying to like do odds. Like it feels like playing a real card game inside of the game. It's not some like roll a die
no,
and
that's
see how it
cool.
goes. So it's like he does have the more challenging things, but the rest you can just mope about on, run around and look at pet animals and shooty and progress the story. And yeah,
Yeah, that's
I'm
all I
excited.
need. That's all I need. A knife. Right, listen, we're. I did not expect to spend. We're an hour already, so let's jump in to the news. Now, there's something that I want to talk to you about. So, do you mind if I go first? Because I think the information that you've
Oh,
got.
I guess that's fine. Yeah, that's
If
fine.
it, thanks, buddy. So, all I picked up on this week was basically today was the Highlander reboot with Henry Cavill. It's filming in January, so there was always talk of there being a Highlander, which is Highlander one, is again in my top 10 as being some very very impactful film for me as a kid. That's going to be rebooted with Henry Cavill playing the part of Connor McLeod of the Cloud McLeod. Interested? Anyone else? I probably would have said, "Why the hell are you doing this?" But now we know it's Cavill. I'm thinking, oh, this actually might be quite cool. So that starts filming in January. Um, I saw a trailer this week, The War of the Rohirrim. So this is the
Hmm.
Peter Jackson animated venture coming to the theater. I knew it was an animated film, but it's actually coming to it's coming to the cinema. It basically tells the story of the Rohirrim and their alliance with Gondor. I think prior to the times that we see in the Third Age. Is that when Lord of the Rings is set?
Oh,
Not the second age, or the second age. I can't remember. Anyway, point being is it's a prequel um, to both The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, called The War of the Rohirrim. That looks good. Any Gundam fans out there? I'm all right, but I'm not a massive fan. Um, there's a brand new Gundam animation coming out called Requiem for Vengeance. That's coming out in October on Netflix, and it
mhm.
seems like they've spent a heck of a lot of money
Yeah.
to replicate the kind of feel of Japanese anime because it's actually been developed, to my understanding, from some of those old animation houses over in Japan. But it's got a wicked cast, I believe, that is going to be doing the voice acting. Don't ask me. My research only went so far. Pacific Rim, sorry, a prequel TV series is in development. So this is um, Pacific Rim. The second one I didn't care for, but the first one in particular, I thought, oh, that's quite cool.
I
Quite
enjoy
like
those
the
movies a
idea.
lot.
Didn't
Yeah.
didn't really go anywhere, but it's. I mean, you know what Lucy's like. It's like big monsters busting up Tokyo. She freaking loves it. So yeah, no, that's coming out and looking forward to that. And then most importantly for me at the moment, where my head's at, is at Supercell, the film, the TV series that I told you about last week that I'd started and have now finished. So I'm jumping the gun a little bit. I've now finished it. Series two has been confirmed, which I'm really, really keen about. Again, it feels it's got that vibe of it's got that London youth, that London affected gangster youth vibe of Attack the Block, but with the premise of heroes. And it's really, 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 really good. And if you do get it over there and you can stand the British accent and a lot of swearing and skullduggery going on, I really, really do recommend it. So Supercell Series 2 is coming out as well. That's been confirmed. And that's it for news from me. And I wanted to be quick because I wanted to pass over to what you've heard about, which I saw on social media, but I did not have the time to investigate.
So I'm gonna kick the can on that one a little bit first. I'm gonna
Okay.
put that at the toward the end so we can make sure we have time for it because I don't want to. Just a couple things that are real brief. I won't even dig into them too much. I did see the trailer for Superman, which is the Christopher Reeves
Yeah.
documentary. That I think that looked really cool. Seemed like something I'd love to pick up and watch when that's whatever when it's available. Another piece of news that came up was kind of the early confirmations, or kind of not even necessarily confirmations, but like the this is that stuff that we talked about last week of like maybe we're a little too behind the curtain. Kind of talking about agents and things like that and reaching out to people about potentially doing a Ted Lasso season next, another season of Ted Lasso. Um, Personally, um, I have pretty strong feelings about this. I really wish they wouldn't. Um, that like I think that story ended really, really well. I loved that show. I absolutely love that show. I've watched that show. I don't rewatch shows a lot, but I've watched that show multiple times with different people to get them introduced. And I love Ted Lasso. And I'm just very cynical, I'll say, that there is a story worth telling to
Yeah.
bring that show back. Um, but we'll see. I'll be optimistic. I'll if they do it, I'll watch it. But I just similar. I feel much more strongly about this than I did with like Shogun because I remember when they're like Shogun season two. It's like, man, it was like it was packaged and there's a little bow on it. But I am optimistic about Shogun season two. This I'm like, why are we messing with it? Like,
It's a little
come
bit
on,
like
George
how I
Lucas,
felt about
stop editing things. Just leave it alone.
yeah,
Um,
it's a little bit like how I felt about Dark Matter. I mean, Dark Matter, if it's done
mm,
right, is an amazing one and only season, I thought. And they're going to bring it back, and they tied up our hero's journey beautifully, and it was
like a packaged
you know
product. It's like here
yeah,
it is.
tragic, beautiful, heartwarming, all in the same in the same all in the same vein, and it was so good, and the the message at the end was really really clear, really really clear. So we'll see.
Like,
Unfortunately, it's a little bit like I don't want it to be. We talked a couple of weeks back. There's a danger of, let's call it the Walking Dead syndrome,
mhm.
where you've got a good thing going, you don't have an exit plan while you're churning in the numbers, and you're making the green. It's kind of like everything's good, but where do you go if you've got no plan to develop it, or indeed to end it? And I think that's the main problem with most things. I think that's the problem that happened with. Did you watch Westworld when it was out? I
Yeah,
think that's the problem that happened with Westworld as well, in that, you had season 1, which was like, "Holy moly." Season 2 is like, okay, there's a journey there. Season 3, and it's like, "Oh." So you got
you
Jesse
can't
in,
always
Jesse in
you
from.
can't keep adding. You can't just keep
Yeah.
adding and adding and adding. Like sometimes
Yeah.
it's like eating a really nice meal, and then when you're finished, the chef walks out and it's like, "Well, I think it needed more salt," and then just starts throwing salt in your mouth. And you're
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
exactly,
it's that
exactly,
it needed that."
exactly.
It's like it
Yeah.
didn't. It was fine how it was. Leave it alone. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
that business side of things of like sometimes the success is what it was, and you can't it's not a safe bet to just keep building on that same franchise. And just to
Certainly not if you're
leave it
trying to
be.
replicate the same thing, or churn the same thing over and over and over again, like
Yeah.
unfortunately they did with Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. No, I'm really cool. Any other news that you picked up on?
Another kind of a small one that we can chat about more later. Kind of has to do with Japan. Our friend Catherine and also Madison happened to send these links at the same time, but a new Nintendo museum opened in Kyoto
Oh, wow.
that I think would be cool. We can chat about it. There's tons of articles out there about it, but for those who are going to Celebration, and I mean it's a ways away, it's down in Kyoto, but might be interesting for those to talk about classic video games and stuff like that. So there, that's kind of neat. The final piece of news that I have is Amandala Stenberg on Instagram posted a series of reels where she was speaking frankly. And for those who didn't get to watch it, she's just kind of milling about and wanted to talk to and address the fans of the Acolyte, and with kind of regards to the news that the Acolyte had been canceled, not renewed, etc.
Mm,
And really, she really kind of did. It's kind of like so reels only last like 30 seconds and then it just kind of rolls into the next one. So she spoke for like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. Like it was a while. Like she spoke a lot
yeah.
about really thanking the fans, feeling privileged. Um, one, feeling privileged to be a part of the project and really kind of thanking some of the people who are involved, the creators, Lucasfilm, um, and just kind of being still in shock and awe that she got to be a part of it and really having a really great time. Um, and the kind of the disappointment and empathizing with the fans that it really spoke to, and kind of the heartbreak that they must be feeling that that it's not being renewed. Um, and then also kind of addressing some of like not some of but like the reactions um from before the show even came out from a subset of the fan base who are just the worst kind of individuals who
Mm,
feel like they need to take their frustrations out and whatever is going on in their lives and just this vitriol and shittiness out on the cast and
mm,
people involved even before the show came out. It was a really well spoken set of reels, um and really heartfelt and just really kind of disappointing to just see like the hurt in somebody, like from somebody, from
yeah.
the things that have been said to her and others, and just like kind of calling it out and just like the hate and things like not anything super specific like being talked about, but we all know what it is. But just she talked about it and just really thanking those who were supportive, including Lucasfilm and things like that. Um, Encouraging people to go vote in November, um, and just really encouraging people to open their minds to new experiences, new ideas, um, to not immediately respond with vitriol, whether like and being mindful of your words. Like, I mean, this is something we talk about
Mm,
a lot of like there's a way to ask questions or to talk about something and even have criticism, but being mindful of the way that you speak and the words that you use and the effect that those have on others. Like it is our responsibility. It's my responsibility when I'm speaking. Like it doesn't matter what my intention is. Like Like, this is a part of
Yeah.
maturity. It's like, it doesn't matter what my intention is. It matters how it's perceived and how other people feel or interpret that. Like, that's on me, not on them. Like that, I feel like this is basic maturity stuff. Like, if I'm hurting people's feelings or the way I'm saying something, that is, I need to be more mindful of the way I'm saying things. Like, period. Not, it's
Yep.
not up for debate or discussion. Like, and she kind of talked about a lot of that, but I don't know. It is the thing I took. Like, I'm not gonna dive into the acolyte stuff over again. We've beat that horse, but it's heartbreaking because this isn't the first. Like, I've seen a lot of these recently of like people, like, whether it's public figures, content
Yeah.
creators, et cetera, like really kind of stepping up and being like, hey, I get that I'm like in the public eye, but like this is getting out of hand. Like, we are people.
Well, it is getting out of hand, especially when Disney or Lucasfilm have a responsibility to look after their people, and to um, make business decisions and inform business decisions on an understanding of what the reaction to those business decisions would be. Let's say the whole thing is cancelled, then we already see people out there that are taking laps of honor saying that we got it cancelled. It was down to us.
Yeah,
It was down to us as people. And then we know we're not too far. We're only stone's throw away now from a bunch of kids that are going to be part of a new Star Wars story for us. And oh my God, if those same people are given that are probably feeling pretty indestructible at the moment and pretty good about themselves because they have this they believe this false narrative that they had something to do with shutting down the acolyte. I really, really hope that no, not I hope, I would expect, nay, demand that Lucasfilm and Disney look after these kids because they're going to be an open target. You know what I mean? They're going to be
yeah.
I'm I really, really, I really feel for Amandla. I really feel for Leslie, especially around that, how bloody proud she was of the product that she produced, or the art, sorry, that she produced. I feel for all of them, but ultimately, tomorrow's another working day and they can move on. I I don't know what to say. I don't know how to explain it, and I certainly don't know how to fix it. But good God, I think if I see the kind of vitriol and the kind of hate going on these kids, and it not be sorry, but targeted at these kids, because let's face it, if the acolyte wasn't targeted at this particular minority, or that it
Mhm.
wasn't targeted at their demographic, sorry, then I can sure as hell bet that Skeleton Crew is not going to be their demographic either. They're not going to be the target
Yeah,
market for that, and they're going to get on their soapbox. And I I have to say that if I see any of those kids, and I'm probably sounding a little bit over emotional here, but if I see any of those kids taking shit, well, I will get back, I guess, into um into a bit of trolling myself. But I dare say that might actually ruin Star Wars for me going
there's
forward. Does that make sense?
it makes sense, and this is something I've been stewing on a lot recently. Like, I mean, some of this is for over the last couple years. I To your point a minute ago about like Disney and Lucasfilm having a responsibility to not like in current context, we're talking about Skeleton Crew and like protecting these kids and things like
Sure.
that. There, I have two kind of major things I'd like to see. When one of them involved a pretty heavy statement, um, which I don't think people talk about a lot. Um, and as somebody who is in tech, and I've been in tech for a very long time, and I've worked pretty close to some of these areas. for quite a long time, and I know I have lots of friends who work in these areas, and so I feel like there's a level at which I am familiar with, and I am familiar with the some of the attitude and mentality that goes into some of these things. But my biggest thing that just really grinds my gears, and like I don't mean this as a negative way, but this is just like a I want people to know kind of where I stand on it. The A big issue that I see with social media today and like the negative discourse and the way that some of these people are treated, a lot of that burden falls at the individuals that have created the social media websites.
Yeah.
There is only so much, and that rock starts at the top and it rolls down and hits a lot of people who have been involved all the way down. There is a lot of talk about like we you and I focus a lot on positivity and bringing the positive sides of things that we can, knowing that we only
Mm.
have so much effect and we have a small bubble. I am not somebody who is naive enough to believe that I can go onto Twitter and reply to shitty comments with positive comments and try to debate people and have an effect, because
Yeah.
I know personally that the reason a lot of this stuff trickles to the top is because engagement is engagement. Like if
Mm.
you comment on negativity, that boosts the engagement score and brings it to the top. It doesn't determine, oh, this is negative, push it below. Like, so arguing with the trolls on the internet just surfaces them and brings them to the top even more, because you know what? Social media websites have been, I will not say purposely, because all the little cogs in the machine are just trying to do their job and make the line go up, and therefore have created a monster based on metrics that says any kind
Mm.
of engagement is more time on the site, increases MAU, so encourage it. They don't realize the damage that they've done. We've heard legislation about the Instagram stuff with teen girl
Yeah.
suicide rates, and everybody just goes, we don't know," and it only gets worse with AI. And I am somebody who firmly sits in the camp of pointing the finger at people involved with social media and be like, as much as you want to sit there and skirt blame, we're all in this together. We all have a hand in
Yeah.
this, and some people more than others.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I yeah, yeah. You're right. And there's an awful lot that Disney cannot impact. They can't change people's opinions. They can't.
so
There's not
that's the
enough.
second half of this.
There's not enough money in the world to make people nice. There's not enough goodwill in the world to bring everyone around. It's their corporate and ethical and moral responsibility to look after these kids.
And
And
so that's the
I'm
second part
pretty
of this.
much
So
Teflon coated. Do you understand what I mean by that?
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm pretty robust when it comes down to all the shit. I feel sorry for an awful lot of people that take shit every single day and feel hounded by social media. But when kids are involved, I it's such a passionate subject for me that, and I'm probably worrying too much. I'm probably being overcautious, but
You're not.
good
It's
God,
valid. It's completely valid.
Good God, Lucasfilm, good God, Disney, if you do not protect these kids and you wrap them in cotton wool, followed by chainmail, followed by Teflon, if you do not look after these kids, I I could be as dramatic as saying I'm out because it's so important. The
Well, and
content.
some people will respond to that and say, "Well, what are they supposed to do?" I have two proposals for you.
Go
Here's
on.
two proposals that say, what is Disney supposed to do with the public figures and how are they supposed to do this? It's like, all right, here, take a stance. First, turn off comments on your content. You'd be amazed at what that can do, and the visibility the lack of visibility and the opportunity that will bring to to people to do these kinds of things. Easy. Second, and that I think is more dramatic, and probably I'm one of the few people sitting at campus, I think Disney, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, whoever should take a stance and leave X. Personally, like, you don't need to market your content on there, because you can't disable Like they can't, as a brand, they can't disable that. It's like
Amen, brother.
you don't
You're the
you
biggest.
don't
You're
need
the biggest media company in the world. I mean, people know who you are. I don't see any Coca-Cola adverts on X anymore. I mean, what the hell are you doing, placating that idiot? Anyway,
yeah.
but
You don't
yeah,
need they
yeah,
don't need
I'm with you.
comments. They don't. I think the biggest one is like if you want to promote your content, especially when the show starts airing, disable comments. You don't need it. People
Yeah,
don't need the opportunity to trash these kids. Like
yeah.
the the kids are innocent. I don't I will argue till I'm blue in the face with anybody who wants to have an individual argument like, oh, public figures deserve criticism, yada yada yada. It's like whatever, that's fine, but there's a way you can say it, there's a place, and I think some kids get a pass because a lot of times child actors and stuff
Yeah, but
aren't
actors,
there by
yeah, come on.
choice.
Yeah, yeah, come on,
Yeah, they're
come on. I
people.
mean, at the end of the day, are they public figures or are they doing a job? I mean, they're doing a job
Well,
at the end of the day, and whether they become public figures is a choice. Is a choice in
yeah,
many. You think about people that we know that have retreated from the Hollywood system.
yeah.
Some people, sorry, some actors have embraced it, and they're part of their shtick or part of their brand or part of their identity is engaging with fans, with media, with the paps, with all that kind of stuff. Others, on the other hand, have not. I mean, it's only been in recent years, really, that Harrison Ford has got has got back into the Hollywood moment. I mean, the guy
And
typically
they
retreated
all
into
hire
himself.
firms. No
Yeah,
no celebrity is
yeah, yeah,
truly running
yeah,
their account. They all
yeah, yeah,
hire
yeah, yeah,
firms.
yeah,
But
yeah,
except for the small people, and that's where this gets especially brutal. You have new actors and like new actors and children who do not have the power and the money to, if they do have a a social presence, then they don't
mm,
have the means to do that. So that's another thing that Lucasfilm, Star Wars, Disney can do is provide more behind the scenes cover. So if you do have um if these individuals do have a presence, invest in people. Stop. Like there's always
yeah. That's
criticisms of
right.
like the National Football League
Yeah,
and that
that's
they
yeah,
take
yeah,
advantage of
yeah,
their
yeah, yeah,
players
yeah,
and prey on people just to
yeah,
bolster the league. Do that for your actors and stuff as well. Like
yeah.
there's
No, no, exactly.
you
If
have the means.
whatever your budget is, double it. If needs be, and rather than invest your money on the visual magnificence, carve a little bit back for the behind the scenes well-being that needs to be going on as well. No, I'm 100% in agreement with you. It's a bit like there's, at the moment there's rumors going around again that I can't believe this is going around, and this is one thing I did pick up this week, that Kathleen Kennedy's going to be fired. She's gonna be fired in FY, sorry, in 2025. It's like that's and again, because of the
By who?
acolyte situation.
That's what I'd love to know. By who?
I don't know, mate. I don't know because of the acolyte rumors. It's like, oh my god, seriously, guys. It's like the woman is 71 years old. I don't want to be working when I'm 71 years old. I don't know about anyone else. I may have to because I can't afford not to. But the point being, I think she's got a chunk of change. I don't
Yeah.
think she needs to. I don't think she needs another blockbuster or something else to actually, if you like, pay the mortgage or pay off whatever debt she's got left. I doubt she's actually got any debts, but because of the situation with the acolyte, and I'm not even going to name the pages, but they're already talking about oh, she's going to be fired next year. It's like, actually, her contract runs out at the end of her extension on her contract runs out at the end of 2024. So there's probably a good chance she's saying, do you know what? I'm good now. And they'll
And
take it as a victory. They'll
my favorite
take it
part
as a
is
fucking victory.
they'd celebrate anyways because it's like, okay, what would she get fired? Would she get fired for making it or canceling it? Because
I've no idea,
they
man.
never
I've
say.
no
So it's
idea.
like it's all
But it's like,
stupid.
but even then, it's like, what are you fucking celebrating? It's like predicting that one day it's going to rain. Yes, of course it's going to rain one day. And do you take a credit for the day to say, "Oh, it's raining today"? It's like, well, yeah, but not on the day you said. It's like, yeah, that's irrelevant. It's raining today. It's almost got kind of stupid mentality. Is that of course the lady, anyone would want to leave and spend more time with their partner, with their husband, with their wife, with their significant other, and really enjoy life going forward. And I know what's coming. They're gonna take victory out of it. It's like, well, you've been talking about this since 2015, so well done, guys. Well done. You
I
win.
love
You win.
I just love the
It's
brain
like
rot that people
it's like
think
it's
that
like
this
it's
stuff
like it's like
is
it's like
one
saying,
individual. Go
yeah.
ahead. Go finish what you're saying.
No, I know. I was about to say it's like trying to predict someone. One day, Sean, you're going to be dead. Well, well done.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. Sorry,
One
carry
day
on.
you're gonna leave one day you're gonna leave that position. It's like, yeah, no shit. That day's gonna come no matter what. But I love the brain rot that people have that they think that like one person
Mm,
is it truly affects a mass $1 billion organization that much. Like
yeah,
truly, especially one that's a creative. Like Disney, like Bob Iger, Chapek, like that is different because it's a $1 billion masthead, a $1 trillion
yeah, yeah.
masthead for a lot of different things that you see the changes in. But a creative organization like Lucasfilm, to truly believe that it is not a collective and that one individual is solely responsible for the minutia of decisions that have been
Exactly.
made is absolutely baffling to me because it's what's funny is like okay, I can't believe I'm even entertaining this. What's funny to me is like, okay, say Kathleen Kennedy left, and Filoni was said, "You're number one," which will never happen because
Mm,
he's a creative, not a business, and like Lucasfilm at the end of the day is a business. And then what are they going to do if more crap comes out in their minds? Air quotes crap. What are they? Is it just going to be the shifting lens of like, oh, Filoni's been like, who are they going to point at? Like, I don't. It's a rhetorical question. I
the
don't
next one in
care.
line. The
It's
next
just,
one in line.
and to me,
It's
this is
that stupid. It's that stupid. I have been when I used to engage on Twitter. I have been in discussions with folks that believed that there was no discord around the prequels. They thought that the guys that put together the People versus George Lucas documentary was a few oddballs that 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 unlike the majority of people thought that the prequels were great. And it's like you 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 just you're just creating your own narrative and believing it. It's like one of the guys that I work with. It's like somebody that I work with or that works for me coming to me and saying, right, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do, and this is the results that it's going to be. And it's in a lovely, beautiful little PowerPoint presentation. It's like, yeah, but how are you going to get there? Well, I haven't
yeah.
thought about that. I haven't thought about
Well,
that. Just
the funny part
really,
is
really haven't thought. But there's fuck all
it's
substance
easy.
behind any of it.
It's easy to disprove. That's what's funny about it. It's like just find any individual who was around during that time who's not chronically on the internet and social media and ask them about the prequels, and they still hold the majority of those same opinions that a lot of people have like changed about, like
Yeah,
the redemption of Jar Jar Binks kind of stuff, like where everybody's like, "Oh, I liked the prequel. I actually liked them." It's like, yeah, that shows how much of a hive mind a lot of this is that people who've been disconnected from the discourse of the prequels
yeah, yeah.
and haven't don't realize that things have come around. I still meet people and talk to people who are like aren't hardcore Star Wars fans who are like, "Oh, the prequels were shit." It's like, you don't realize that people have like changed about that, and like people like are like forgiving and like openly acknowledge, and they're not just being like, "Yeah, Jar Jar Binks did suck." And so it's kind of a challenge to
And
people
don't
being
and
like,
don't get and
"Hey,
don't get me
just
and
because there's
don't get me
people who
wrong.
hate it,
And don't get me wrong. I am one of those people that did not warm to the prequels. Um, and I now appreciate them and now love them. So I'm a hypocrite. Um, but I'm okay with that because
But you could be there's a difference between being a critic
but
and
what
being an
came from
asshole. Those are the 2
yeah,
different
yeah, yeah, yeah,
things.
exactly, exactly. It's like I cherry pick the stuff I like, and leave the other stuff. But and we had that, we had that, about the story. I went to go and see the 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace with the Scruffy Boys. I haven't had so much fun in ages. I haven't laughed so hard, and we all three of us admitted, we're very very clear in our minds that some of it is absolutely amazing. And some
Yeah.
of it is absolutely cheesy as heck, but with hindsight, that cheese is what makes it even better because if it was taken a little bit more seriously, it would end up like something like Rebel Moon, for God's sakes. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Is that
Yeah.
it's that ridiculousness about the whole thing that makes it so charming. Which 25 years ago, I didn't have the maturity, and secondly the the expectations at the time to perhaps positively receive something like that. But anyway, listen, the point being, to your point, you don't shit on it because the kids back then, it was their entry point for Star Wars, and it was good for them. I'm not gonna, the fact that I had grown up and I was 20 years older than at that moment in time than when I saw the OT. It's like, well, yeah, of course it's not. Of course I'm not going to like it as much as I did the OT because this ain't targeted at me anymore. Anyway,
At the end of the day,
round and
it's
round.
meant to be it's meant to be entertainment. If you're not
Yeah,
entertained, go go watch something else. It's that
yeah,
simple. It's the point where we get into the problems is where social media and things our lack of community as a society and as citizens makes us pick encampments that make us define our personalities as entertainment has now become a personality. It's like, oh, my personality is hating Star Wars because it is not entertaining to me, and like it's like you've
yeah.
lost the plot. Like we've lost the plot. Take a step back. Life is a buffet.
Hmm.
If you don't like eating your tomatoes, then don't eat the tomatoes. But also don't bitch endlessly about tomatoes. Like,
Yeah,
who cares? It's entertainment.
yeah,
It's not your personality. It's not your life. Leave people alone. Move on. Like, life's short.
yeah.
Did you want your epitaph to be railed against Kathleen Kennedy until she and eventually retired? And I got her. Got him.
I did that. I did that. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Listen, positive. Let's talk a little bit about because we're already at 1.5 hours. So let's talk a little bit about what we've been watching this week because what I have been able to do is I've been able to squeeze in because I've had the family with me. We've been able to watch some mutually enjoyable programs or films that we've been really really enjoying together. And so
Mhm.
there's quite a few during the evenings that we've got through. So I finished Supercell again. I'm not going to go over it again, but we really really enjoyed that as a fan. And it's very British, so it might be I'm a little bit biased, but it's really really good. Did I tell you the week before that I'd finished Rebel Moon episode one or part one? Sorry, did I tell you that? We talked about it last week,
Pause
didn't
for a
we?
second. I'm going to say it. You do not have to discredit or discount shows or content that are British leaning because that's still valid and doesn't mean it's a different taste or like that. Your lens is your
No,
lens. You don't
okay,
have to.
yeah,
You don't
okay,
have to.
okay.
You don't have to
Anyway,
discount
no,
stuff. 'Cause
I,
you've done it
I,
before too, and I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. Fuck that.
okay.
Like
Well,
that's
that's
valid.
thank you, thank you. Right, going back to my question, did I talk about Rebel Moon part one last week? I did, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great, fine, okay, right, okay, I can get rid of that. Um, I haven't watched part two yet. I'm going to build up to that, but I'm going to do it. It's a public service. Um, Still watching. I would say still watching, but on pause at the moment. On pause, folks. Cobra Kai, The Ones Who Lived, Scrubbed, Time Bandits, and Rebel Moon Director's Cut Part Two. Um, However, started watching. In fact, we've nearly finished it. Um,
How many balls can Andy juggle at the same time?
this is the kids' fault actually because they came back and we're really, really big Ted Lasso fans. Really, really big Ted Lasso
Yeah.
fans. And my youngest said to me, "Have you watched Welcome to Wrexham yet?" And I'm like, "No, I'm okay, thanks. I'm okay. I'm not a football fan. Sorry, I'm not a soccer fan. So I'm not. But what I liked about obviously Ted Lasso was the human story. So I mean, from the Discord with so many of our buddies are really, really into soccer or football. Sorry, if you're in the UK, and I'm not a massive fan. Rugby was my game when I was a kid, so we kind of have a very different opinion. In fact, rugby and football players or fans kind of have a very, very different opinion of each other. Um, anyway, but we ended up watching Welcome to Wrexham. She said, "Trust me, it's it's a real life Ted Lasso," and I'm like, "Yeah, bullshit. I don't believe you." Anyway, we've hammered through seasons 1 and 2. We're on season 3, and I gotta say, it's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful program. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that have already seen it, and they're shouting at me saying, "Catch up, Grandad, where have you been?" But yeah, no, I've been watching Welcome to Wrexham, and I have to say, it's been really, really enjoyable. The other thing that I've been watching is, um, you know this already because of something that we're planning with one or two buddies of ours. But my favorite game adaptation to media, so a computer game or a console game or a PC game conversion to either live action or a TV series or indeed animation. My favorite to this day is Arcane, and I have seen it 3 or 4 times now. Hate the
Mhm.
game. Can't stand League of Legends. Not my sorry, I don't say hate it. That's a strong word, but it's not my genre at all. It's not my bag at all. It's not the format. It's not the structure that I like in a game. But good God, that TV series, that original series from the French company that I can't remember who they are. Um, well, the good news, which I think I talked about a while ago, is that there's season 2 coming out very, very soon. I think it's coming in September, October timeframe. Anyway, the point being was that my entire family love it as well. A, because the girls love the whole premise of A, cyberpunk, two, and B, two extremely kick-ass sisters that are basically, you know, wreaking havoc across this universe. And we decided to watch it again, and we burnt through the entire series um, over the weekend, as well as burning through 2 seasons of Welcome to Wrexham as well. So we've been really, really busy. But I'm very, very happy because Arcane in particular never gets old. I always go back to it. I love that program so much. And then lastly, I read a couple of graphic novels. Again, we had some downtime, and so we had some quiet time between watching telly and going for walks and going for nice dinners out and about. I got to read a couple of graphic novels that I bought for my holiday in November, and I've burnt through them already. And I'm hoping to.
Nice.
Well, I'll need to replace them, but it was nice. It was really nice. What about yourself, mate? What have you been watching, listening, or reading?
Haven't been reading anything. No time for that. I've been listening to a couple new albums recently. So a couple of the bands that
Nice.
I liked when I was younger. Like I noticed a trend in some bands that have been around for a while. Like I think they're kind of following that. Like Taylor's. I apologize if Taylor Swift wasn't the first person to do it, but I think she's the one who made me conscious of it. Or like re-recording your masters. Um, and I've noticed some bands that I've liked for a really long time. They've been doing that as well, but like not trying to mimic the old recordings. They're doing
Hmm.
it with like a modern, like taking not the entire discography, but a lot of it and like re-recording like modern. And it's like, dude, I am a fan of live albums. I'm a huge fan of like re-records. I'm a huge
Mhm.
fan of covers, like anything that just tweaks it a little bit. I just so I've been digging a lot of those albums. Another album that came out that I usually don't talk about like the music that I listen to. It's just I don't know why. But shout out to our Aussie friends. There is a an Aussie band that I've followed for quite a while called Stand Atlantic that just released a new album. That's just a an absolute wrecker. So they should be proud. They should be proud of their the music coming out of their country.
Mhm.
I dig it. It's a good album. But yeah, I've been listening to that. Um, no reading. Haven't watched a whole lot. I didn't get any For All Mankind in. I did get the notification this morning that Rings of Power, 3 episodes of Rings of Power just dropped. So that'll
Today?
be yeah, yes.
Oh, shit. Okay.
They've been acquired by the streaming services, so there is that. Um that is happening. I did watch an episode of that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon,
Oh,
and
yeah?
I am I'm pleasantly surprised. It is what it is. Like it's TMNT, but they got. I'm pretty. I'm like I didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's the same voice actors from the movie, the most recent movie.
Mhm.
Like it's all the same stuff, and it's like a continuation of that story. And it's cool how they've taken that like sketchy Spider Verse kind of 3D animation, computer
Yeah.
animation that they do in the movies, but then they've kind of translated that down to a simplified TV 2D animation, like it's still kind of similar and reminiscent. I'm like, I think that's cool how they've done that. Like it's not a completely different thing. It's like, hey, it's a TV show, it's a budget. So I thought that was cool. And it's fun. Like it's fun for what it is. Like if you're a Turtles fan, if you got kids who like turtles,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I don't know. I thought it was a neat and like a good adaptation. That's all I'll wax poetic on that.
Did
Um
you ever read the original Turtle, the grungy black and white
yeah,
Turtles
yes. I
back in the
did. I
day?
did. I've read a lot of Turtles comics, even though I'm not a big comic person. Um,
Mm.
I loved the '80s cartoon, but I did read those. I did read the last Ronin series, which I
Mhm.
thought was really cool, and I'm trying to. I have them queued up like the continuation of that, and
See, I never
sometimes it
read
gets
I never
sometimes. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I never read the Last Ronin, but I do have really fond memories of the original black and white strip.
Mhm.
And in fact, somewhere here I've got the collected volumes. But because I felt that I was too old for when TMNT came out back in the 80s, I was kind of already how can I put this?
Y-
A teenager.
you weren't the right
I
age.
was I wasn't the right age, and yeah, and um, my buddy that actually was ended up being still was, we speak every week. He's the guy who's my best man. He introduced me to the original black and white iterations of that, and I thought this is wild. These guys are kicking ass, and it's not. It's less cowabunga and pizza and a lot more serious stuff going on. And I've always wondered if in all of the in all of the animations and the films, I haven't seen the. I've seen the latest. I've seen the latest live action. I haven't seen the. I didn't see the Spider Verse. That's all I can put it as. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
seen the graffiti art version animation. Sorry, but I would love someone to replicate the original intensity of the
I
original
believe
comic.
I so the last Ronin series is really good, and I'm pretty sure unless it's changed, I thought somebody was adapting that towards.
Oh wow!
I thought like Netflix or somebody. I thought there was. I have to look it up. I yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles official movie. It's probably some stupid YouTube thing that lied to me, but I could have sworn
But
there
you
was
know
an
what
announcement saying
you
they
know
were
what I
going to
mean,
adapt it.
and I'm not in any way poo pooing the rest of it because again, it landed after my time in air quotes, um, and I wasn't the target demographic. And then I read the original um,
It was it
adaptation.
was
Sorry, adaptation. How many adaptations that was converted from, rather
yeah,
than right to
you
left,
read the
from left to
original.
right. Yeah, but it was translated from into English, um, and it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome, and I'd love to see a take on that. Love to see a take on
The
that. A little bit like what they did.
Turtles was important to me because it was my generation's Masters of the Universe.
Right.
It was a capitalization on toy lines and just ridiculousness with a show bolted onto the side of it. Like beside then there was obviously the original stuff, and I think it would be difficult to make it more serious. I think The Last Ronin did a really good job about it, and I hope they adapt
Yeah.
that because it is hard to make Turtles serious where it's like, oh no, it's a guy who's like a mutant pizza face guy and he's
Yeah.
throwing
Yeah. Yeah.
pizza boxes. But no,
Yeah.
I speaking of which, did I ever show you that I have this? It's it's a take on the original
Oh,
Eastman
that's cool.
and
Yeah,
Laird,
that's exactly what I mean.
but these are they're like shadowy blue and black figures. They're action figures, but they're based on the originals. And
Oh,
so
they're not.
they're like the nighttime version. So they're blue and black, but they're all the
Oh,
same. Yeah.
sorry.
So it's like
I thought they were. I thought they were for you then to paint. I didn't realize that that was the final job. No, that's cool. I mean, I love that turtle shit, and I love that. For example, that statue you've done, the the
yeah,
the the statue you've done. A,
my
it looks
Raphael guy.
great,
Yeah.
and I know you beat yourself up about it every time, but you're an idiot because it looks amazing. But also, that's exactly what I meant. What I mean by not. I'm not saying everything because I don't want to take away from
Yeah, yeah,
the kids that are discovering TMNT now. But
yeah.
yeah, a little bit of a, and give it to the guys over in Japan to look after. Yeah, do another
Just like
Godzilla Zero.
just like Star Wars, we can have everything. We can have
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
different types for different folks, and it's okay. It'll be fine.
Exactly,
It's
exactly.
not going to crush my childhood. Um, but
There's
yes, so there's that.
what
There's that.
one thing this week we didn't talk about.
My
I don't
final
know if
thing
we
that I
got top.
watched, the only thing I really watched,
Go on,
Sunny.
Sunny.
Was that what you were going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say I want to spend some time with you on this week, but I think we're gonna
I
run
think
out
we
of
can.
time. But I
I think we could summarize and talk about it a little bit because I think next week's the finale.
oh, is it? Oh
Yes.
shit!
So this was episode 9 that just aired a couple of days ago. Which,
Damn
if
it!
anybody is not watching Sunny, you need to be watching Sunny. The show
Yeah,
is,
yeah. It
it's so
is.
good.
It is exemplary. It's absolutely fantastic. So why don't you talk about the last 2 weeks? So I've caught up, and I even watched yesterday's this morning. So I'm
Mhm.
I'm I'm completely caught up. I mean, it is it's gone as man as a box of frogs. But please, take me through your thoughts and what's happened since we last caught up on it.
So, at first, at a high level, in case people don't want to know all the details, similar to some of your thoughts that you had when the series first started, when you were like, "Oh, you thought it was gonna be too cutesy." Mid-season, I started to feel like I've always enjoyed the show, but I started to feel like, okay, it's kind of losing, it's maybe losing its footing. Like I feel like we're getting the universe is expanding, like the story's expanding, but we're not getting any contraction and like consolidation on plot and like what's happening, rationalization, why people do things, why certain things have happened. And the last 2 weeks have been a rapid contraction onto that and being like, we're we're rocking towards the climax. And I've been shocked and surprised and happy with the way they've gone about doing that from a story narrative perspective. So if anybody's watching Sunny, or if you start to watch Sunny and you get about 5 6 episodes in and be like, where is this going? I feel like I'm like, what, why keep going. Just keep going. It gets you're getting the we're getting the payoffs and the deeper emotional story that I always love. Um, and if that's all you want to know, cool. Sign off. Don't go any further. Skip a couple minutes ahead. Um, but what's happened the last couple weeks is so like this the story from my perspective is really it's not so much about Rashida Jones at the moment, her character. It's more about it's we've really kind of shifted the focus into Sunny and being like, what does it mean to be Sunny? What is Sunny's purpose? How is why what is happening? Because Sunny came back from like the Yakuza and has been different. Different, like her programming changed or whatever until and we've been following um Susie. Susie's Rashida Jones' character. We've been following Susie around, and she's still trying to figure out what happened to her husband and son. Kind of going to this place and seeing she saw her son with some of the Yakuza individuals in the last couple minutes of the last week's episode, and all of a sudden, Sunny was there, but Sunny was back to original Sunny,
Hmm.
and Susie was grabbed by Yakuza and was being threatened, and next thing you know, Sunny turned into combat mode, warrior mode, and been like and protected her, and killed killed that guy, killed the guy who was protecting her. And then the end of the last week's episode, this is why I was struggling so much last week to be like, I can't fathom what happened. As the end of the episode, she killed him, and then immediately, like the ground starts crumbling, and like Sunny falls through this hole in this abyss and just kind of disappears. And like that's the end of the episode. It's like it just turned into this completely fantastical, like void, like sinkhole void in the ground, and that's how it ended. But we got
Yeah, but I think you called it. I think you called it when we were when I wrote to you. I wrote to you. God, when we were messaging each other, I said, "What the hell's going on?" And I think you said, "I'm going to check it now." I think you said to me, "I think this is in Sunny's conscience, and she's shutting down." I could be completely wrong, but I'm sure you.
sounds like something I'd say. It's like it's not real. Like that wasn't real. Like we're getting
Yeah,
it from her perspective of like
yeah,
the 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 programming and sense of like robotic consciousness. I don't want to say AI. That's a loaded term in certain ways. It's like it's her consciousness kind of combating itself against the programming, and we're seeing her kind of come turn inside. Um, there's still a lot to be answered from that, but like this last episode
yeah,
was completely batshit crazy. It was inside Sunny's mind, a like a Japanese style game show of where she is the game contestant, and characters from the show are the crowd, the host, the different things, and it's a self-reflective game show of like Sunny fighting her consciousness and the actions that she's taken and trying to figure out what has happened and like should she wipe her memory or not wipe her
yeah.
memory? Is she to blame? Is she a good robot? Is she not? And then like throughout the process of just this silly game show reveals core pieces of the plot of how we got to where we are, who Sunny is, what her name means, um backstory to Masa, who's the husband, and the whole program. Um, it completely discredits whole storylines, being like, you thought it was this, it's not. It's
So
this. Like,
I got one question for you. I thought it was expert. I thought it was absolutely
yeah,
expertly done. I mean, spending two spending in this episode as a introspection, is that the right word?
yeah,
Introspection in Sunny's makeup. Bearing in mind she's a robot, and we spend the entire episode in her brain. trying to
Mhm.
work out what she's done, which is basically to defy one of Asimov's principles, three principles for robots, which is
Yeah.
she has murdered someone, albeit while trying to protect her friend. Um, the one bit I couldn't work out, and I don't. So it's one of those things that I rewound and watched again, rewound and watched again, rewound and watched again. The game show host in her brain, in her dream, while she's trying to work out what's been going on, um, is that employee of the same company that Susie's husband works for,
He
and
was the drunk guy at the Christmas party,
he's the
I'm pretty
piss.
sure.
Yeah, exactly. He's the drunk guy at the Christmas party that was a bit of a sleazy git and made a few inappropriate comments, which he retrospect, he subsequently had to apologize for. My question is, what was he doing down by that power socket? I mean, what was coming? I don't understand what happened. Did he steal, or did he insert the dark code?
I I think it's a bit of both. Um,
Oh, okay.
where I'm so it was unclear to me at first too, because I thought he was just messing with the plug. I didn't realize at first that the outlets on the walls, I thought it was just charging, but that's actually how they sync their programming too. Then it's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, I
yeah,
get it. I think he's upset with the way Masa treats him because he keeps calling him stupid. And
yeah.
then he's working with the Yakuza to steal the code, but he's
Right.
also
So
affecting their
he's
program. He's causing all of the chaos that the robots are doing.
got it. Got it.
He's in a way, I think he's almost reverting them. So like Masa keeps updating the code to be like, don't do that. But I think he keeps reverting them back to the like original broken version that lets them do other stuff, like bad stuff,
I got
as
it.
well.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Sorry, my
So I'm
chair's gone very creaky all of a sudden. Mate, I'm
so I'm
loving
very
it. I'm
purposely
absolutely
not
loving it.
talking. I'm not talking about the ending yet of how that episode ended because okay, fuck it. Let's just talk about it. So the whole episode is based on should Sunny wipe her brain and revert back to factory settings because she's a bad robot, or not wipe her memory because it's not it's she was doing the right thing with the actions that she's taken, and her like because wiping her memory would remove her memories of Susie and all the things that she cares about Susie, her feelings. Masa programmed them to have feelings and to understand and to take actions based on their emotions and feeling, making them more human.
Yeah,
And she had those feelings and committed certain actions which violate like, but they're counterintuitive. And so right before the ending, she does like a slideshow projector reel of time with Susie that makes you feel like she's like, no, this is important. I shouldn't wipe my memory. But the end of the episode is her going through it's like presented as like two doorways and two hallways. She goes through the wipe doorway and then like that hallway is where the experiments were done. It's like a flashing kind of like memory of like going through that hallway. It never and I think it ends with her just going through those doors. And it's like that
did she get to the doors?
I thought she was opening, she goes into the hallway and she's going down that hallway. And
And
then
that's it. And then fade to black.
but I thought she was maybe I'm wrong, but I thought she was
Oh,
opening the
maybe
doors
maybe
at the end of
not.
the hallway too. And it was like, oh wait, why would she even entertain going in those doors if she felt like she did? Because it kind of ends with like you did the right thing. um but who knows? I don't know what
I don't know,
happens.
man. Don't know, man. I think we're gonna. I can't believe that we're gonna lose. That she's gonna lose her entire personality. I can't believe that at all. You know. I think that. I think that there's a twist to that twist, if that makes sense. What we think, what we thought was going to happen, didn't happen, and then what we think now is going to happen, I don't think it's going to happen either. So yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking. I think there's another twist to that. I think there's another twist to that
Oh, for sure.
story completely. Um, yeah, no, mate, I'm loving it. I'm loving it, and it's such a refreshing surprise. You know, it really is just a surprise. And the great thing about it, if next week is the last week, then we've got so much more stuff coming out. We've got Terminator Zero, the new animated, the new anime
Hmm.
Terminator series coming out. I can then finish off Cobra Kai. I can finish off some of the Walking Dead spin-offs if I'm brave enough. Mate, there's a lot to be excited about. There really is.
A lot of
Really, really is.
outlaws. A lot of outlaws coming.
And there's Outlaws as well. I don't want to be too busy, right, on the televisual side of things because there's a lot of Outlaws, especially this weekend, that I want to try out. Mate, it's a little bit arse about face this week. This week's running order has been a little bit the wrong way around because we did start with kind of Outlaws and then spent awful lot of time on the Star Wars stuff. But no, I'm really stoked, buddy. We have broken the 2 hour seal,
Yep.
which
We
is
opened the can.
always amazes me. But mate, I'm dropping, buddy. I'm gonna have to go. But thank you so much. I have like you. It's felt like ages since we spoke, and it literally has only been 1 week and 1 day. But I don't know what's it feels like a really tough slog or an eternity this week. So no, I'm really stoked. I got to talk geeky stuff with you. I'm really happy about that. Thank you very much for your time, buddy.
Yeah, thank you as well. I have another prepared outro if you're keen to hear it.
Well, okay, just 1 second, and thank you to you guys as well, all of you guys that listen. Appreciate your time, appreciate your friendship. Look after each other. Stay healthy, stay happy. Go on, Sean.
I thought you liked last week's, and here you are.
No, I
Okay,
do.
here we go.
I did. It's amazing. Go on.
All right. We really appreciate you spending your time with us. If you liked what you heard, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Don't forget to check out our website at justchillin.com for more awesome content and ways to connect with us. Before we go, I'll leave you with this quote: Worrying is a cheap replacement for caring. Complaining is a cheap replacement for fixing. Outrage is a cheap replacement for supporting. It's easier to tear down, it's much harder to build up. With that, keep it positive. Check for toilet paper before sitting down. Until next week. That's all I got.
Man, that was so cool. Honestly, I'm honestly, I'm. You saw my mouth, right? I'm in awe. That's mate. Honestly, you're in the wrong. You should be in politics.
It's not my quote. I didn't come up with that quote, but it was
Okay,
one
you
that
have now.
the one that stuck with.
See you guys.
Bye.